Part 2 of our exclusive investigation with KFF Health News into hip replacement products that we discovered have been breaking inside of hundreds of people. It's been going on for years. The result is people suddenly collapse and they need really, truly gruesome surgeries to fix the problem. This morning, we are learning that many of those fractures actually could have been avoided if only recalls of the product had happened sooner. Our consumer investigative correspondent, Anna Werner, is here once again to explain. Anna, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. You know, manufacturers of medical devices like hip implants are supposed to monitor problems, in part with the oversight of the Federal Food and Drug Administration. Yet we found it took years for some of these implants to be recalled, exposing many more patients to these faulty products.
So you were riding your bike basically up this path,
hip, yes.
right?
This is where the Profemur artificial hip implant Perry Parks got 6 years before broke as he rode his bike along this Los Angeles beach.
I felt like the hip dislocated.
Suddenly, he couldn't control his leg.
And I fell over into the sand, and I then tried to get up, and I couldn't get up.
At the emergency room, an x-ray showed part of his hip implant, a 2-inch titanium neck connecting his hip to his leg, had snapped in two, something he says the doctor couldn't believe.
He said he had never seen anything like it.
Parks is just one of hundreds of people whose Profemur hip implants fractured, leaving them needing painful revision surgeries. Hip replacement surgery involves removing deteriorating hip bones and implanting metal and plastic parts, typically a ball and cup connected to a stem that fits inside the thigh bone. The Profemur system, manufactured by Wright Medical, was different because it added a detachable neck between the ball and stem, made in different sizes to try to achieve a custom fit. But experts we spoke to said that titanium neck was vulnerable to fracture.
So essentially that piece, that small piece, would snap.
That's correct.
Dr. Lee Rubin is a prosthetic hip expert at Yale University.
This piece would break in half.
CBS News and KFF Health News found reports to the FDA of titanium Profemur necks breaking inside U.S. patients as early as 2005. Yet it took 15 years until 2020 for any of those necks to be recalled, and even then, only some sizes. By that time, more than 800 reports of those fractures had been submitted to the FDA. Yale University orthopedic surgeon Dr. Aydin Poor studied those Profemur fractures.
We basically recommended this stem to be completely removed from the market.
Do you think they waited too long?
I think they waited too long, true. This implant should have been pulled out of the market earlier.
It wasn't. But in 2009, Wright Medical did begin making the neck out of a stronger metal, a cobalt chrome alloy. That's the product Kristen Bjorn, a former dancer from Pasadena, California, got in her hip replacement in 2013.
It was fabulous. I was able to walk without pain, and, you know, I just wanted to get back to my normal life.
But less than 2 years after it was implanted, her Profemur hip broke. It took 3 surgeries to fix her hip, including implanting this metal cage-like device she calls the claw.
It looks really painful to me.
Yeah, it is. To this day, it's painful.
It's still there.
Yeah, it'll be there for the rest of my life.
4 months after her implant broke in 2015, FDA records show the new owner of the Profemur brand, Chinese company Microport, recalled the specific cobalt chrome neck used in Bjorn's hip, citing an unexpected rate of postoperative fractures affecting some 10,500 implants. But that recall only involved one size of the cobalt chrome neck. 11 other sizes remained on the market, despite reports that some were corroding inside some patients' bodies. Microport did not respond to multiple requests for comment. The company that bought Wright Medical, device company Stryker, declined to comment. Fractures are still being reported. In 2023, the FDA received over a dozen reports of Profemur necks breaking inside patients.
Are you surprised by that?
I'm not surprised, and I'll tell you why. We know there's going to be patients that have the implant that had not failed at 5 years, but they would fail at some point in the years afterwards. It's amazing that this is still going on.
Something Kristen Bjorn worries about.
I really hope that other people are okay. I think about them a lot, honestly.
Why?
Because of everything I went through, and I know what they're in store for. It's scary.
Now, in 2020, FDA records show Microport recalled all the Profimer necks. But the recall was temporary, so Microport could update the packaging documents of the Profimer implants. It added a precaution for doctors, saying in part that patients should not have unrealistic expectations, including, among other activities, substantial walking.
Direct quote there.
Now, we've also spoken to, we talked about the reports to the FDA of about a dozen fractures, but there's also a corrosion issue, and there's reports of about a dozen instances of corrosion, of these devices corroding to the point of failure just this year in 2023 as well. So there's a couple different things going on there, actually, with the cobalt chrome.
It's terrifying for people walking around with what could feel to them now like a time bomb in their hip.
Yes.
Yeah. Keyword walking around.
Yeah, walking around, exactly. And, you know, we forget, or we shouldn't forget, that it was marketed in the images you showed yesterday with people playing tennis and golf.
Exactly.
And then you told a story yesterday about somebody bending down to pick up a pen and had a problem. So how do people know if they have this?
So it's tricky. So you have to go to usually the hospital will have the records.
Okay.
Or the doctor, but often it's the hospital because that's where the surgeries are performed.
Yeah.
I spoke to Dr. Rubin about this. He said, go to the hospital, get your records. It's better for the patient to do that. Then consult with an expert. They might take an x-ray. He said there might be some people for whom they want to look further.
Yeah.
He said, but 80% it's going to be waiting and watching.
Oh, my gosh.
Scary stuff.
It's not an easy fix.
It looks so painful, too.
Well, thank you for this reporting. It's eye-opening for sure.